welcome to Black Link Magazine. I am Marva B. I am the CEO and founder. I am the chief editor, and I'm so excited to be here. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Sit back, relax, and watch this entire interview all the way through. Welcome, 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 Mr. Willie Burton, Ms. Dorez. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to Black Link Magazine.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So what I want to do is I want to start with you, Ms. Dorez. I want you to go ahead and tell the world who you are and a little bit about what you do, because we'll talk about it as we go through the interview.
Okay. I'm a film and television producer. My name is Dorez Douglas, and I live in Los Angeles, and I've been in the industry for over 30 years. So a lot of information to share.
Okay, Mr. Willie Burton.
I'm Willie Burton. I live in West Hollywood. I multitask. I'm a production sound mixer for films. I'm a movie producer, and I'm also a director.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we're going to get into what you all have done over your tenure in the business. And so let's just jump right in. I first want to say I commend you all for being in the business, a man and a woman of color, and being in the business this long. Is just like, I tip my hat to you, and you were doing something right for still being in the business. So kudos to you both for being in the business. And on top of that, I read, Ms. Dorez, that you have produced films that included Destiny's Child and others. And then you, Mr. Burton, Dreamgirls, my very favorite show. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about, I'm going to start with you. The question is going to go to you first, Ms. Dorez. So at what point did you realize that it's production for you? I want to be in the film industry, and this is going to be my career for lifelong.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I started out in development, and a lot of people don't know what that is, so I'll explain. I was working for networks and studios, but I was working in the offices. So I didn't know anything about production. I thought that was production. So we would be in the office and we'd have the scripts, and I was answering phones and pretty much doing like secretarial type work. But then later I got a job at a game show, and I found out about production because just a few blocks away, they were recording the show. And it was called, I think it was called Love Connection. So I'm really dating myself now. That was an old dating show. But anyway, so I was working for them, and the producer really took a liking to me, and he said, I think you would make a good producer. And I thought he was being funny. So I sort of laughed it off, But then as I kept watching what he was doing, his job and everything, I started expressing an interest. And so he said, well, why don't you come to the studio? And I was so shocked. I'm like, oh, they don't record it here? I thought they were recording somewhere in the offices somewhere there. But anyway, went to the studio, got a chance to be on the set, see all of the crew people, and watch the host and how they did all of this. And it was good because of two reasons. One is that being on the development side of that show, I had learned how they go through the whole interview process to find contestants, and then how they go from that to, now we're going over here to the studio and we're going to record these people. They're going to tell us about the date and blah, blah, blah. So I got a chance to see both sides of the business. But after being on set for a couple of weeks off and on, I knew, I was like, this is for me. I do not want to be sitting in an office going through scripts or, conducting interviews or whatever. And so that's how I made my mind up that I was going to do it. I just didn't know how at the time.
Right. Awesome. Mr. Burton, what about you? You've been in the business a long time. Where did it start for you? Where was your beginning?
Well, I'll start. I have been in the business over 4 decades. So Dorez talking about being old. I'm older than she is. So, but mine started when I grew up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And mine started when I was in high school. I wanted to be in audio. And we had this program offered in high school called Diversified Occupation. And so I was able to study radio and television in high school at a young age. And the school would allow me class credits and time to go out in the community and work after school to get the credits. So after graduating from high school, okay, I want to be in audio. Where do you go to be in audio, work in the audio field? So I said to myself, it's either New York or California. So I had an opportunity to move to California, and I started in school, enrolled in school. And of course, I tried to find audio jobs, and that didn't work out. But I was able to study, and eventually I was hired by the Long Beach Naval Shipyard as an engineer after spending like maybe 2.5 years in studying in college of electronics. And after studying in engineering, it was a great job. I worked on sonar systems, and within 3 short years, I moved up really fast, got promoted. But, you know, I thought about my high school days when I wanted to be in audio. So I started applying to be, you know, to get in the union in Hollywood. Right. Of course, you know, you apply, we're talking 70s now. Applied for the unions. Union says, oh, we don't have anything for you. You have to have a job before you get in the union. Well, I said, okay, I'll go get a job. I go to the studios. No, you got to be in the union before we can hire you. So it's one of those things, right? So I said, oh, this can't work. Something has to give. So, but eventually I was working for the Department of the Navy as an engineer on sonar system, but I never gave up. I kept trying. So it's one thing I learned is that you never give up. And time went by, and the union elected a new business agent. And that new business agent says, I finally called and finally got through. He says, you know, Willie, I want you in. You have great credentials. I'm going to help you get in the union. And he did. Jack Coffey was his name. He assisted me in getting into the union, and I got into the union, and I got hired at 20th Century Fox on production. And of course, once I worked on production, they tried to put me in post-production. This is sound. We're talking sound now. In post-production, I said, no, I don't want to work a regular job. I want to be on production where I can have, you know, time off, and, you know, you don't have a full-time job. It's freelance. Our jobs are freelance. So that's how I got started. And I never looked back. I have over 4 decades of sound. And now with Dorez and I have moved into producing some projects, small projects, and also just started to direct as well. And I've been doing this off and on for the last 10 years. So it's exciting. Hollywood's been good to me, a great career. I can't complain. And I'm very blessed to be here today.
Well, that's amazing, because a lot of stories don't end up like yours, saying it's been really good to me. You know, I had this long tenure. They usually don't last that long, or
right.
A lot of issues, right?
Sure.
That they have to endure. Miss Dorez, let's talk about after Love Connection. So Love Connection happened. What was next for you after that?
After that, I started trying to figure out, how am I going to get into this production work? And at the time, I didn't know anything at all about producing. So I just felt like this isn't going to work, but let me just think about it. And in the process of just looking around, I mean, and the crazy thing is, if you look back on this was like the 80s. Mm-hmm. And so there was no internet, there was no, you know, social media, no YouTube. So I really had to get out there and network, you know, and meet some people in person. And then I also utilized my own asset, which was the producer of the show. Mm-hmm. He had offered to be, you know, sort of a mentor. And I've learned, one lesson I learned out of that experience is never turn down an offer for someone if they say, I'll help you, or I've got some advice for you. Don't ever think you know it all, or you'll figure it out on your own. You know, why bother? Why do all of that work and take all that time when somebody's willing to show you the ropes? So he gave me a few tips. And along the way, I finally stumbled into some information. I was at a party, and I overheard this lady talking about doing a show on cable. And I said, really? I said, how do you get to do that? She said, well, every local cable station has to have an access channel. Mm-hmm. And she said, what you do is you call over there, find out when they're doing an orientation meeting. And when you go to that, you're going to find out everything you need to know about creating your own show and having it on their channel. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's what I want to do. But I had no idea what I was doing. But anyway, I found out about the meeting, went to the meeting, found out that they have a 2-hour orientation. And I don't know if they still do that anymore, but it was called a producer's orientation class. You take that class, and from that, they allow you, well, you first, before you do that, let me back up. You have to come up with a show first. So you have to already know what kind of show you want to do. You at least need to know that much. What format you want. Like, do you want it to be 30 minutes or an hour or whatever?
Okay.
And so I did come up with a show because I love shows like Entertainment Tonight and Extra. And I said, I'm going to do something like that. And I said, but I want to interview like all Black actors. They don't hardly ever get a chance to just be on a show and talk about themselves for like 30 minutes. I was going to let them have the whole 30 minutes of the show. So that was an attractive offer. And I ended up getting people like Blair Underwood, and I got, I can't think of Robert's last name now. But anyway, it'll come to me later, but Robert Townsend.
Robert Townsend, yeah.
I ended up getting Robert Townsend, people like that to do the show. And then that's got the word out there. So young directors and newcomers, they started, saying, I want to be on the show. So I found a lady who knew how to do this, and she worked for Disney, and she offered to be my partner on it. And so she became my partner, and she taught me how to produce.
Right.
And then we went from there. And so we did the show for we did about maybe 17, 18 episodes.
That's a lot. I figure that's a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Plus, you had to pay for each episode, but they did give you crew, and they gave you the equipment. So you can't really beat that. And it was on you and a studio too, use of their studio. So unless you were going to do something where you had to be outside, doing exteriors, you could do everything in their studio.
Did you, Burton, did you ever take the production class? Was that offered to you, or you just got in, you bypassed that?
Oh, yes. No, I bypassed that because when you work, like I worked in sound, my entire career, but I decided to concentrate on films. And I've been very fortunate to work with some of the best directors in Hollywood and the top producers. And because of this, in the early stages, you get to attend a lot of meetings. Which means script meetings, means after you shoot your footage, you go to dailies, you sit down with the group, they talk about the editing, you learn all of this. So I learned so much. So just by being around the best people, they were teaching me. They didn't know they were teaching me, but I was gathering all the information I could. Every opportunity I had to learn, anytime a script was being developed, be written on the set, I'd be listening to see what changes they're making, why they're making these changes. So I've learned from the best, and that's how I jumped into producing. Right. That got me going.
Yeah, and you guys, when he say the best, like Steven Spielberg, I saw that, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
and Clint Eastwood, Clint Eastwood, a few others.
But I said earlier, I saw it was Destiny's Child. What did you do with them?
Oh, yes, that was Willie and I was our first foray into feature films as partners. And so I had found a young lady who had a script, and she wanted to make a movie out of it. And so we got started on it. And I didn't know that somebody, I guess, on the crew or that was part of the team, they knew Destiny's Child. And at the time, none of us knew they were going to get as famous as they got, and go as far as they went. At the time, they were just starting. And they just become young ladies, I should say. So that when they called them to the set, they told me, they just gave me their names. They didn't say Destiny's Child. They just said, oh, here's so-and-so and so-and-so, and then this lady, and I need you to, get them ready or whatever. So I'm telling them where to go, get their makeup done, and, then we got to do this and do that. And I had no clue who they were. And so it was a couple of years down the road before I found out who they were going to become.
I think that was Dorez and I first. We first, that was our first meeting, production deal.
Okay.
And, it wasn't a great film, but we had no control over the film. We were trying to help them produce it to make it better. But of course, young people, they had their own ideas and stuff, but it did get some, play around on cable and everything. So that's how we got started. We met, and Dorez and I have been together ever since.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how long you guys have been partners like that, working together.
Well, that was 99, so that shows you how long.
Right.
And actually, before we did that movie, I had done a animated special for ABC. So that was my first real producing, the first time I really dealt with the big boys, as they say, with a Hollywood company. So that was how I initially got into it. And that was with the other partner, the one who was working with me on the cable show. Okay. She helped us with that deal. And then after that, I had met Willie, but we didn't know we were going to work together till after he came back in town. He had been out of town working on a movie. Right. And then we got together when he got back. I told him about my deal with ABC, and I said, I'm really going to be producing now on a regular basis. And, I said, the lady that I was with, she can't do it anymore. And he said, well, I can be your partner. I was so stunned. I'm like, this guy, and the same year that he agreed to do that, I didn't know he was going to win an Academy Award for sound. He won his first Academy Award. Yes. For that, yeah.
Oh, so amazing. You talk about animated, and that's kind of different from, bodies being there actually doing the acting, right? How is it doing animated? So you have people doing voiceovers and they're just in a little studio. And how do you produce
it's a very strange experience, because first you have the artist and they're drawing the characters, how they want them to look, how they envision it. And it was based on a book. So they had something to go by from the book. They kind of had some ideas, but they basically had to create most of the characters from scratch. And then ABC put out the word that, we're looking for actors. And we got about 80 Black actors. I never saw that many Black actors in one place coming through. They just kept coming through. They'd say, and now so-and-so wants to audition. I was like, who? I mean, we had Margaret Avery auditioned. Oprah was even interested at one time, but her schedule didn't work out. She was going to narrate. And we went on and on through all. James Avery was in it. Paul Winfield. I mean, some legendary actors ended up in that project. And I was stunned when Diane Carroll said she wanted to replace Oprah and do the narration for us.
Yeah, I saw her name too. I meant to mention her.
Yeah, it's a very strange experience, though, on the day when we finally started actually, because most of the meetings prior to recording were just meetings with the artists, going over the drawings, going over how the little village is going to look, and, how do you see this looking and that looking in this scene? And I still couldn't figure out how it's all coming together. And the next thing I knew, once the script was finished and we were really ready to go with the actors, they would come. I met them over at ABC Studios, and they go in this little booth, and they've got the script in front of them, and they're just reading it and acting out the part, and it was just amazing.
That would be I would just love to see that put together, because then once the finished product is together, you see these animations, you see
right.
And it's like,
and somebody put it on YouTube, so I don't know if it's still there. But if you Google the name of the show and put it on YouTube, search for it on YouTube, right, I think it'll come up.
So basically, they get the drawing together. You get your actors together, then you go and you do the voiceovers, and then they edit it, putting the sound over the.
Right, the editing matches up with the characters and what the characters are doing and saying in the scene.
Love it! Like, I'm so interested.
It's an amazing thing.
That's interesting.
What's so funny about it is that when we did this was back in the 90s, early 90s, right, mid 90s. When we did this, there was no computer animation and all that stuff. These artists were the kind that used to work for Walt Disney. They did that hand-drawn, coloring it in by hand. I mean, it was amazing to see that. Now, of course, everything is done on the computer and green screen and all that.
No, I had an interview with Paul Porter in the music business and Uncle Jams, and they were talking about how people really had to work back then, right? Wasn't no just, oh, I might get on the internet and I'm gonna make it now. You had to work for what you wanted, and I think you appreciate that more when you really work for what you want. And today, they can make things happen, which you like automation and to make it do, you know, things more quickly or whatever. But I just tip my hat to the people that really worked hard for their positions, right? Not to take away from anything anybody's doing today, but just saying that hard work.
But it is a lot easier because, like you said, people can get online and build a big following. And the next thing you know, they're an Insta star, you know, they're on Instagram and everybody knows who they are and all that kind of stuff. I don't think, and I won't say everybody, but a lot of them, I think, don't really fully understand what they have in this new technology.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't appreciate their position and they treat people disrespectfully, or they think, oh, that person was somebody back in the day, you know, and they don't give them much credit, but they don't realize that a lot of times when you don't have to work hard for something, you don't appreciate it. But when it's taken away, then you realize what a big, you know, big thing it was and what a blessing.
Yes, ma'am, that is it. You know, and I've been taught, you know, if you don't work for it and it's just handed to you, you want to appreciate that. You don't care anything about it. And then when I got grown and started working for my things, I'm like, hey, you watch how you treat my couch. You watch how you
right, absolutely.
So, you really do appreciate it.
Take care of our things because you know it was hard to come by. So now I'm to you, Willie, Mr. Willie. I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrespect you.
Okay, no problem.
Dream Girl. Let's talk about Dream Girl.
Okay.
So tell me your experience with that, how that went. Like one of my favorites, and I just want to hear your side from being there and being behind the scenes, and then did you win a Grammy for that?
An Oscar.
An Oscar for that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, the thing about it, I was working on a film with Will Smith called Pursuit of Happiness in San Francisco. Oh. And I learned that they were making this film, Dream Girls. I said, I really wanted, because I love music. Music is part of what I like. So I said, I really want to do this film. So I called and I got no return. I mean, of course, the production assistant or the secretary answered the phone and they're the gatekeeper always. So it's okay, I'll tell whoever I talk to that you call. Well, that didn't happen. So fortunately enough, the producer of Pursuit of Happiness, the film I was working on in San Francisco, made a phone call to the director for me. And then he said, okay, I'll interview you. I took a couple of days off, flew down from San Francisco and met the director, and we hit it off. And then I went back and continued working on the film in the Bay Area and didn't hear from them. I got nervous, says, I don't think I got this job. And a week later, they called me and said, you have the job. I was so excited. I was just so excited. I didn't know what to do because I know a little about, you know, the Motown story, that type of thing, the sound, the music. I knew it was going to be good. And then when they told me the cast and Jennifer Hudson, I mean, I was so excited that she got the part. I mean, so of course I went out and bought a whole bunch of new audio equipment to be ready for the show. You know, multi-tracks recorders. I said, I got to be ready for this. Got to be, because there was live recordings, there was playback, and I tell you, the performances was so good. I mean, when the girls got on the stage, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, you think that you were at a show, a real live show. It was so good. So what an experience for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And just everybody. I mean, you know, Eddie Murphy. Everybody was so good. And the cast was just nice. Everybody was pleasant to work with. And we worked a lot of hours. But, you know, when the show was like getting ready to end, we didn't want it to end. Because it was like, it wasn't like going to work. It was like going to a concert every day.
And you get to sing and perform and
it's like free, all for free. To hear Beyonce and all these perform for free. I mean, it's like, and you get, well, not free, get paid. We got paid to do this.
Yeah.
So that's pretty incredible. So that was my experience. And it's one of my top films on my list as the best film I've ever worked on.
I watched that, like my husband, like again. I'm like, okay,
Right.
I dance with them,
Right.
parts with them.
Right.
I want to
Now,
ask you. So
Willie, was Jamie in that? Jamie Foxx, was
Yeah,
he
he
in that?
was. Yeah, Jamie Foxx. I mean, they all were so good. I mean, everybody, all the cast was like incredible. I mean, just what I mean, I wish I could. All my films is that way.
oh man, that just sounds so fun. So that's a job that you like. Okay, it has you beat your alarm clock up because you
Oh,
love
absolutely. You're ready to go to work every morning. You want to get up and go to work every morning.
hitting the snooze button. You're like, oh, gotta go to work. Gotta go.
Absolutely, right.
I have a question about that. Whenever they're filming like that, now I know these are powerhouses singing, right? How
Right.
is it? So are they literally singing? I mean, what happens with let me back up. Are they actually performing live performances?
Well, some of it is live and some is playback. Sometimes what they will do, or what we do, is that we do one take live and we do one playback. Because sometimes the performers want to do it live to get a feel, and they'll take the live feel that we do and sort of blend it with the playback. But the tracks are pre-recorded, the major tracks. Now there's a lot of little, like we're playing around with the piano and singing, all that's live. That we just do that live. Anytime you see someone playing the piano and doing some singing and not full performance, that's all live. That's all done live. Yeah.
Where did you guys record that at? Was the whole show done in one place, or?
Well, the movie was done in Los Angeles, all around Los Angeles, all the location Los Angeles, and a couple of different studios in LA.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about. I mean, I could go on and on, y'all. I promise. Because it's so interesting what you all do. We see the people on the front lines, right? But
right.
What you guys do and your personal touches and your
right, sure.
What you guys do is way important to those actresses and actors, right? So what do you guys have going on today, like currently? What's happening or what's getting ready to come down the pike?
You want to start, Dorez? You want me to start?
Yeah, I want you to start.
Okay. Well, we just finished a short film producing for Baton Rouge City College. I'll let Dorez get in more detail. But Professor Clarence Nero is a professor at Baton Rouge City College, an English class, and they wrote essays, a story of essays, his class did. And so the stories was turned into a book. And we, the school and Professor Nero wanted Dorez and I to produce this project for them. And it's a short film. The book is called Voices from the Bayou. The film is called Voices. We just premiered this film in LA 2 weekends ago. Mm-hmm. And what a great turnout. It's the story is based on, and there was a lot of stories written. I mean, like 12 or 15 stories, but we can only pick like 2 or 3 stories. And these stories are incredible. And it's based on inequality, trauma, and pre-COVID. And that's what this film is about. And so I wasn't planning to direct this film, but of course there was no one else that we found that could direct for little money as I was making, right. And also with the experience that I have. So I produced, I'm one of the producers and directed the film, and Dorez wanted to produce on the film as well, along with a couple other associate producers. But we got involved, we finished it, and it was a great experience. And we have other projects in the pipeline. I'll let Dorez get into that as well.
This was the amazing part for me, was that about doing that project was some of the stories were really incredible. We couldn't do them all. There was like 34 stories. So
that meant, oh wow, I said 15.
Yeah. A short film. But the beautiful part for me was watching Willie direct, because a lot of people think, oh, he's never directed anything before. And I go, well, believe me, all the movies he's worked on, he knows how to direct by now, because the sound mixer works very closely with the director on any project. That believe me, they want to be really connected with the sound person. And that's why they're so picky. about who they hire, so they want to know they're working with somebody who's going to be doing an excellent, A1 job, and that's Willie. But watching him direct amazed me. He used to tell me, well, I don't know if I should say the name. I'm not going to say the name, but he used to tell me about a director in Hollywood that shoots real fast and that knows what he wants, and they just shoot it and that's it, one take and it's over and stuff. And I was surprised that Willie is very similar to that guy. He doesn't play around when he's on the set. If you're an actor, you better come ready, because he's not playing. He's directing like any Martin Scorsese or any of them don't have anything on Willie. But the other amazing thing was that we had Lamont Rucker to star in our movie. And I was surprised because, this was during COVID when we shot. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, oh, he's not going to want to leave his house, but he came and he did the part for us, and it was wonderful. And he came to the premiere as well. But yeah, that was the part of it that was exciting for me, was working with Lamont and working with Willie. And now we're going to be doing other projects, where our next one is a charter school project. And we're going to be talking about one of the top charter schools in Louisiana. Right. It's called Impact Charter School. Did this school on our own, practically from the ground up. Had it built and everything. She designed it and everything. And we were just blown away. And she contacted me online, and we got to be friends. And she asked me if Willie and I would produce this project. So we're going to be going to Baton Rouge to do that. And then the next one after that is going to be a feature film. We're going to get back into the feature business.
I'm glad. So excited.
Let Willie tell you about that one.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall somewhere. I'm just curious, right? When I do my interviews with you all and then I'm done, I do my editing, I do everything. And I'm thinking, it's a lot. So I'm thinking, what about the people doing the big films, and when they production, when it starts, and who comes on set now, and all those different integrals and all the people that have to be a part of that. And what makes me almost cry to tears, if I can be honest, is to see you two people of color. I'm not going to get sentimental. In the business and survive in the business. Right? It's
right.
What I want to do, and I'm glad that I had you here, is because I want young children of color to know that you said something earlier with Mr. Burton. You said, I learned not to give up, right?
Right, absolutely.
And look where you are today. And then you said, Ms. Dorez, that don't act like you know it all. Be willing to learn. And if they know concepts, then they can go far. Yeah, I'm sitting here doing a little YouTube Zoom right now, but I'm not gonna stop doing, reaching for my dreams. And those are the messages that I wanna put out to people. You have to have a good attitude. You have to have thick skin and know that people are gonna tell you no. People tell me no. I try to get interviews and people sometimes they just don't wanna do them. Do I stop because they told me no? Absolutely not. Look who I have doing the interview with me today. Right? So y'all, I tip my hats to y'all. I love y'all for being.
Thank you.
Support everything that you all do. I'm gonna blast this all over my website and in the magazine, because it's important to put your faces in front of these kids.
Thank you.
To say, look at me, and look how long they lasted, right?
Right.
It's hard, even with the social media stuff, because you'll be told no there too. You have to get numbers. It's hard getting numbers. I've been doing
right.
In this program, my numbers are not where I think they should be, but they'll get there. They'll get there.
Yeah. You just keep going. It'll happen.
It will happen. Just don't stop.
That's right. So thank you so much. And before we go, just really quick, I have another interview. So just really quick from both of you guys, what would you leave with the people, our individuals, especially our people of color? I believe everybody lives matter. I'm not one way or the other. I love people.
Sure.
For our people of color, what would you leave with them trying to get into the industry, just really quick? Whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, Willie.
I would say, depending on where you live, I mean, first of all, if you want to get into the industry, the best thing to do is that if you're near where there's film shoots going on, or or any kind of film project, I mean, I think you should try to just walk up to the set. I know COVID is a little more difficult now, but once we get past this, just try to get involved. I mean, and there's opportunities as far as like there's short films, like student films is really, really good. Like colleges, every film school do student films and everything, and try to connect with some of the people and get involved and try to learn. You might not get paid. Sometimes you get paid, sometimes you don't. But you have to try to learn as much as you can. And sometimes it's almost like you're a pest. But in our industry, there's no such thing as a pest. That's how you get in. That's how you get started. You never give up. And if there's any classes or seminars you can take regarding filmmaking, whatever career choice you decide or department you want to be in, I mean, just get involved in that and try to take some classes or whatever. Like now, Dorez and I were working on projects. We're planning to shoot in Baton Rouge sometime in August. Now, we're more than happy to have people come out, invite people to our set, young people who wants to learn if you're in that area. We're willing to teach you, which we're doing with Baton Rouge City College students. I mean, they're more than welcome to come on our set. We can't get everybody, but we'll get a few to learn and to observe and see how we do it. And that's how you learn. Don't give up. Don't just because one person turned your way. No, don't let that stop you. Just keep going, and you'll make it. You'll be where I am today. Thank you.
And I just go ahead.
Door in Louisiana. Can I peek through the window?
Absolutely.
Where are you in Louisiana?
No, I'm in Houston a lot, so it's right by Houston.
Oh, okay.
Right, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Skipping a jump to come on over there to Louisiana and meet us. You're
right.
part of the family now. But I would like to give one tip that I know a lot of people don't know, and I wish they did. Somebody had told me,
Right.
is become a background actor. That is the best way to get your foot in the door. You can get, like Willie said, you walk up to them, you let them know, you guys got any background. And for those who live in like Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York and stuff, they have central casting. You can sign up with them. I don't know if it's free or not. It used to be $20, but it's worth it. You sign up with them and then you'll be getting background acting jobs and you'll get paid.
Wow.
And you'll be on the set working.
And learn how it works.
Right.
Wow. Thank y'all for dropping those gems. I respect y'all to the ultimate. Again, I thank you for being here. You guys out there listening, take your notes, write it down, take the knowledge that they're sharing to us for free and do something with it. If you're serious, you have to be committed and serious to do what you want to do in life. So remember, we're going to get out of here for now. Can you guys tell us where we can find you on social media? Are you on social media sites where people can reach?
Willie is not on social media, but if anybody wants to get in touch with me, then I can put them in touch with Willie.
Absolutely.
But it's Ms. Dorez. It's MSDOREZ. I'm on Instagram.
On IG, and that's what's popping right now. So
and I'm also on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
They didn't expect that. See, lady, and I'm on Clubhouse.
You guys enjoy the rest of your week. You guys, we're going to get out of here for now. Remember to respect yourself and respect others. God bless.
God bless you. Thanks so much.